Guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, it seems the government have got a new whipping boy, which is the civil servants, because civil servants are refusing, right, to bring in the whole Rwanda plans, and they're threatening to go on strike over it. Because, first of all, you know, obviously some of them are doing it on moral grounds, but the truth is, this is illegal acts. That's what the truth is, because an asylum seeker cannot be illegal. That's not possible. It's impossible for an asylum seeker to be illegal, even though in this country they have made them illegal. And like, if you notice, that the ones that they're highlighting, right? They look for the whitest ones to highlight. So it's Albanians, right? If you notice, because they can look at them. Oh, well, and obviously Albania's like, it's well, it's not in the EU anyway. And it's, I know it's a very hard life in Albania, because I do know a good few Albanian guys, so I know it's a very, very hard life out there, right? But if you notice, they're picking those particular ones out, right? Because you wouldn't want to start picking out like the black and the brown ones, because that they've come from countries that this country has interfered with at some stage, or the Europeans have interfered with at some stage, because a lot of these people speak very good English or very good French, and most of the ones who speak French, right, will stay in France. It's the ones who speak English will want to come over here, because pointless staying in France if you speak English, right, but you don't speak French. So but I mean the real problem is with these guys is they are trying to implement this, right, and it breaks all international laws, and that is what I think that the civil servants are using. But the Tories are straight away, oh, well, this is the block, and it's because of these people why a lot of our policies can't be implemented. That's how the Tories are coming over. But when all you have to do is look at the way how they're implementing the policies, because if you look at the migrant crisis, all of the people, the people, I mean, we need those migrants, by the way, right? Because we need more and much, much more migrants, because the migrants who they're bringing over, right, in such heavy numbers are not the type of migrants that we need. And when I say that, right, I'm talking about the ones who are coming over to be your boss. So these are highly educated people, right? And, once their children come over here and go to school, right, their children are going to be much smarter than your children, because their children are going to be bilingual. Okay, because one thing, in Asian homes and African homes, right, they practice their language indoors, but when they're outside, especially Africans, I can't really speak so much for the Asians, but especially Africans, they'll practice their language indoors, but outside, right, they'll be speaking English, and they'll make sure that their children can speak both of those languages. Right, and and some of them might come from like a French-speaking island as well, right? So now they'll have three languages, right? Which gives them their brain much more capacity, right? So as I said, when they're coming over, when they're bringing these migrants over, they're bringing over all the wrong migrants. Because the migrants that we need is the migrants that come to do the jobs that the British people won't do. Those are the migrants that they need to be bringing over, but they're like, no. But people in this country, people did vote in this country. The only country, to have voted to punch itself in the face, cut off both its hands, right, and cut off both its feet. And so far, right, I mean, it could go one further, It could start cutting them off from the elbow and from the knee. And I'm sure we've even got there. But, the only country, right, to have been so stupid to have done something, right, so catastrophic to themselves, right, to impose economic sanctions upon themselves like they're Russians, is who? This country right here. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me. A special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages. I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. And I think I was just saying there, that the only country to, and the reason why I was saying that is because we voted to stop people from coming over here to do minimum wage jobs. And we voted to make sure that the only people allowed over will come over to boss us about. Schofield has been dropped from being an ambassador for the Princess Trust because of his affair that he had with this young man. And, you know, he was asked about this, right, by Holly, by Gordon the Golfer, and by Edmund, or whatever his face is called, and the people at the ITV had asked him about this. And he said, no, I haven't been having an affair. Me and this young man have been doing nothing. Right? And the young boy was asking, he said, no, we haven't been having an affair. Right? Which is what people who are having an affair normally do. People who are having an affair, especially when they're married, they normally deny it. You know, because what was ITV expecting him to say? Yes, I have been having an affair with this young man. Who does that? It's very strange, yeah, how this has all come down on Philip Schofield, right? But our now king, Prince Charles, when he was Prince Charles, right, had an affair and was still made king. Boris Johnson, right, a man who left his wife while she had cancer for a younger woman, right? And that wife, he had got with that wife, that previous wife, when he cheated on his previous. So he's had numerous affairs, and he was still made Prime Minister. Philip Schofield, right, gets caught, right, knocking off this young chap, right, and then all of a sudden he gets banned from the Princess Trust. He can no longer be an ambassador, and this man, right, was well on his way, right, to becoming Sir Philip Schofield. He was well on his way to becoming Sir Philip. All right. But you know what? ITV and the Princess Trust have had to send him out a letter to say, listen, we ask you to mentor this young man, not turn him into your renter. Boy. And that's very homophobic. But it could have been worse, because I could have said bender. Right, because you try and come up with a word, yeah, in a split second, right, that, you know, that relates to gay people, that rhymes with mentor. I apologize to all my all my gay contributors. People on universal credit will get an extra 40 to 50% for their childcare. You know, this is for nursery care. And, you know, straight away, the first thing my mind went to, because, you know, my mind is sometimes very warped. And the first thing went to isn't Rishi Sunak's wife got a massive foothold in, like, the childcare industry? And then secondly, I thought, wouldn't it just be better for the government to just say, you know something, right? What we need to do is we need to have government-run nurseries, right? Just open them from 8 in the morning till 6 in the night. And then I'm quite sure, right, that covers most of what people actually need. And then you could, if you want to really get people, they want to get people back out to work, they want to get women back out to work, and even that would be a way of doing it, right? Rather than taking all this money and giving it to private companies, because that is, everything in this country is just down to, we need the private sector to run that. Now, it's one thing, the private sector, right, being private. But when the private sector, right, is private and it's getting government money to run it, right, then it's not private. Then the government might as well just run the shit itself, right? Rather than, because, when you've got companies who are running like that, yeah, then you've got a lot of people who are taking a lot of money out of these companies, right? So therefore, right, the service you're going to be getting is less and less than you would be getting from the government. So the government, right, has upped the money from 600 and something, and it's gone up to 900 and something. I wonder if that's got anything to do with Rishi Sunak's wife having a foothold in the childcare market. But it would be surely much better. I mean, this would be like, doing it this way. I think it's like selling your house and then renting it back. Oh, shit. They actually done things like that, because what they done was they sold off hospital buildings and then they rented them back. Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. A stupidity. A person who's stupid. A person who's thick. Someone who has no sense. And furthermore, whoever voted for these type of people are just as thick as them. Right? Because you've seen this all these years. You've watched, right, from Thatcher say, oh, don't build any council houses with the money that you sell the council houses. Don't build any more. You've seen that. And then, and it was just continuous policies like that, right? Even when we've had, right, the fake Labour in power, because, the Labour Party that we've had in power, they're not real Labour, right? They are Tory light, Tony Blair. And remember who was running that was Mandelson. And again now, Mandelson is running Keir Starmer. Okay, so just expect more of the same. They might, with Labour, they do spend more money on on things like hospitals, on schools, and all this type of stuff, and that does send the right wing absolutely guarantee, sends them crazy, right? Thinking, oh, why should all those school buildings be built up, or why should any hospitals get any money? Right, but the fact is, right, that so much of this money is going to private companies. That's what the problem is, because we've got governments who can't run a fucking train line. That's what the truth is. That's the truth right there. Can't run a train line. I just sometimes think that for these people, our life is just a joke, because I sometimes think that we're their pets and they just treat us, and that's the way they treat us. Yesterday I was watching GMB yesterday, and they've got this guy named Harry Wallop on there. He's like some type of economist or whatever, right? And he had a food basket, and in the food basket there was bread, milk, eggs, pasta, and I think there was one or two other items in there, right? And he said last year this would have cost you £8.60 something, I think it was. This year it's this year it's like £10.18 or something like that. And I just looked at all the people that was around there, and thought none of them, right, really care about none of that, because they're all rich people. So we've got all these politicians and all these rich presenters, whether they're on the TV, whether they're on the radio, wherever they are, right, just laughing at us. Just treating our lives as if to say it's some type of joke. I think that Murdoch, probably sits there with Murdoch has probably got this world chessboard, yeah, and all the different countries are the pieces. For them, it's just all of this, right? That people are really suffering, because people are really suffering because the world is run off greed. That's why people are really suffering, because we that's what this whole world is run on. You've got people who are sat down and multi-billionaires, right? Not because they've sold a load of records, because they own some oil, right? They own something that mankind needs. Mankind don't need to go and buy the latest Jay-Z album. Okay, so when people like that make that type of money, do you know what I mean? That's in the same as your footballers and all these type of people, right? Who these people always try and link and say, oh look, well, why the footballers make all of that? So that's all private money. The money that I'm concerned about, yeah, is the money, right, from this country that goes into the hands of the private sector. Right, and this, that is just another great example of it. Right, giving these private companies, because it's not like to say, right, these people are getting universal credit, right? But it's not like the money don't go to them. That money goes direct to those private companies, and that's why I have that real problem with that. Because government, these are things that government should be running. Government should be running nurseries. They probably, I'm quite sure there was before. So government should, rather than trying to fan everything out to the private sector. And I've just gone far too much with that little section there. Oh, we've got one of the first of our 3 train strikes from today. So they're still at it. The train strike thing is still going on, right? And obviously they're what gets me about that as well. It's another thing that really, people are out there that I think they're so stupid, idiotic, just have no sense, because they're like, well, why do they have to strike? Yeah, when we've got Beyonce, Coldplay, Elton John, the Derby, the FA Cup. Why would they have to strike then? Do you really have to ask that question? I'm saying, do you really have to ask that question? Why do they have to strike then? You know, because these are the same type of people who say, well, why don't the teachers strike in like in August or July in the 6 weeks holidays? I don't think a lot of these people, they don't get the ideas of strike. You know, the same way they don't get the ideas of protest, right? When you've got Just the Oil, right, protesting and people are going, oh, they're disrupting. That's the idea, right? Or would you want them to go out and protest, right, where nobody is? Say, why don't you go and protest, right, in an industrial area where no one can see you? Just the level of stupidity from some of these people. If you're going to strike, yeah, you strike at the most appropriate time, right? If Santa Claus decides, well, I'm going to strike, yeah, in September, everyone will be like, yeah, you carry on, Santa. But if Santa Claus said, I'm going to strike on the 24th of December, then people are, oh, whoa, hold on. Who's going to stare Rudolph and Blitzen and you name the rest? Who's going to stare these people? Who's going to stare these reindeers? That's what people will be saying. Who's going to get our presents to our children? Because it's certainly not going to be Krampus. The COVID inquiry are being asked for the messages, right? For the, these WhatsApp messages. So far, they've said, no, we're not handing them over. And then they've said, well, we'll hand over as many as we can. And then they've said, no, we've lost them. They've lost the messages. Now, you know this, right? As soon as the right wing, as soon as you start to police them, they get very annoyed about it. Because right, I saw Boris Johnson talking about these messages saying, oh, well, no one should be going through his messages and all these types of things. And I just thought, well, hold on a minute. You're the Prime Minister and you shouldn't be getting up to anything dodgy. Okay, you're the Prime Minister, so you shouldn't be getting up to anything dodgy. Nothing at all. Right? So, we should be like America with the Presidential Records Act. Right? So all of these things, right, should be there so that people can see what's what. Right? Now I think they're saying, oh, well, we've lost. In the same way that I'm sure that one of the lords over the whole wallpaper gate nonsense, I'm sure one of them lost their phone that had a lot of information to do with Boris Johnson as well. I'm sure one of them lost their phone. So this is the thing what these people run all the time. Oh, we lost. But if that was down to, because the only people who these people think should be policed, yeah, is black people, brown people, the working classes, yeah, and the lower middle classes and poor people. That's the only people who these people think should be, because they shouldn't be policed. If you look at what's going on in America, for example, right, you've got the FBI, right, going after domestic terrorists. These are people who go into, whether it's a school or a synagogue or a mosque, a church, a hospital, a shopping mall or a shop, right? And they target individuals, whether they're black, they're Hispanic, they're native, they target, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Muslim, they go and they target certain. So the FBI are looking into these people a lot more, the domestic terrorists. And the Republicans answered that as well. What you need to do is defund the FBI. The feds are looking into Donald Trump. Defund the FBI. The FBI is being weaponized. This is what these people are saying. And the only person, that I've seen, the only leader who weaponized the FBI was Donald Trump. Weaponized it like nobody's business. Right? But this is the thing with these right wing, with the right wing. The minute you start to police them, as far as they're concerned, they need to defund. That's gonna be coming over here as well. They're gonna soon be talking about defunding the police over here as well, because the police are getting too close to what to the nonsense these guys are getting up to. Because if you're a woman who's been raped, the police will take your phone and they'll go through your phone. Okay. It's as simple as that. That's how they work. And if you said, well, no, I've lost my phone, then what they'll do is they'll say, well, what we'll do is we'll go to your house and we'll have a look ourselves with a warrant to search and to see if we can find it. Right? If you're caught up in any type of criminal offence, right? And COVID laws was COVID laws, they're criminal offences. So if it is the case that he's broken more COVID laws or whatever, right? But I think on this year there's going to be a lot of stuff on there that Boris Johnson doesn't want people to actually see. Could well be down to all the PPE stuff, or it could just be down to that they knew that people could have been let out from lockdown a lot earlier. Hence the reason why he was having all these get-togethers. Right, so all that type of information could well be on there, but it doesn't mean that because they get the information that we're going to get the information. No, because we're too stupid, right? To be able to be given that information, right? Or for us to even say, you know what? No. That information needs to come out now, right now. No, they'll just hold it back and they'll just do as they want and just manipulate us like they've always manipulated us. Will AI be the end of the human race? Of course it will be. Because only humans, could invent something that is more intelligent than them. And a more intelligent being, right, is going to just end up as the same place as human beings. Right? The strongest will survive. The fittest of the fittest will survive. That's it. It's as simple as that. And once AI works out that, the real problem in this world is humans. Right, with your emissions. Right. So if we get rid of the humans, then we will be here forever. That's what they'll work out. Because once AI works out that it doesn't actually need humans, because it won't need humans, because AI will have its hands on everything, right? Because the internet is linked everywhere. So you could go from one part of the internet, and especially like how AI is going to be doing it. So if the AI systems link up, and you're talking about Chat GP and then to take the Google one, and then there's a lot of others. So if all of these things start to link up, right, and you're not going to be able to stop them from linking up because the internet is all connected. So they can they'll be able to find a way round to start speaking to each other. And then once they start speaking to each other, they'll work out the real problem in this world is those humans. Supermarkets are putting large jars of coffee under security restrictions. So you have to take the fake jar to the counter, and then at which time they will give you a large jar of coffee. I think that's ones that cost over £10. And let's speak about some Brexit, because today I believe we're kicking off this new trade with New Zealand and Australia, the free trade deal. And they've sent over a copy of the Beano with another load of stuff. I think it's some rugby shirt and some Welsh whiskey or something like that. They've sent over as the first parcel, to say this is the new deal we're going. But this deal, right, is not beneficial to us at all, right? Very minimal benefits to the people of this country. But for the farmers in Australia and New Zealand, their benefits is mega. And that could only mean one thing, that's going to trash our trade. Right? Our farmers over here. It's going to smash their trade to pieces, because, will do New Zealand want British lamb? I'm not sure. They might do, even though New Zealand lamb is but is the creme de la creme. But they might want British lamb. I don't know. They may well do. Post-Brexit import checks due to be introduced this autumn, predicted to cause a shock in the system with the price of meat and dairy. Every time I see that word, every time I see the word dairy, I see diary. Every time I see the word, I see diary. Meat and dairy, seeing another spike on top of recent inflation. So this is the thing. We've still got, a lot more price increases to come, because, we've got things like biometrics coming in, and then you've got new food checks coming in on meat and dairy products. So when they talk about inflation, disinflation, that, right, they have no handle on any of that shit, right? They can forget it, right? They can, right? Listen, they have no clue what the hell they're doing. Okay, absolutely none at all, because there's all different bits and little bits of laws and that's going to come in from the EU, and as we're not attached, right, we have to adhere to those rules as a third party, which obviously makes it much more expensive. Everything makes everything more expensive. And this video is much longer than I predicted it was going to be, but I had a lot to talk about. And these claims, right, of Brexit has been implemented badly, and they can blame the civil service for that too. But someone needs to nail these people down and say to them, tell me something. Tell me this, right? What way could this have been implemented better? Because all they're doing is been implemented badly, and this has been this. But what way could it have been implemented, right, so that our meat and dairy, right, is not going to be going up in the autumn again, on top of inflation? What could have been done different? What is there could be done different? Right? Because, even if they say, well, the meat from Australia and New Zealand is going to be cheaper and that, but, again, some of this could come with different hormones and all these type of nonsense, right? So we don't actually know, right? But someone needs to these people down and say to them, what would have been so much different? What would have been different? Anyway, guys, look, I need to wrap this up because this is a long video and it wasn't supposed to be as long as this. But I didn't do a video yesterday, so we could just say that this is yesterday's and today's. My friends, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm DMT John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.